Welcome to Boroughs and Burbs, the episode 72, the beach cities of Los Angeles. We're going to talk about Manhattan Beach, the Pearl of L.A.'s South Bay. We're going to talk about Hermosa Beach, which I understand has 2 miles of beach frontage, and Redondo Beach, L.A.'s ocean adventure capital. And we've got two experts, Cynthia Carvel and Misty Frasier, and you work together in the Manhattan Beach office, the LA office?
We do, yes.
Okay. And so I put some pictures here and I started to try and understand the difference between these three beach communities, but I have to say, I don't get it. So I'm glad we're having this show, and I'm glad I have you two experts to help me understand the beach communities. Let me begin by saying we met when I went out to LA for a conference, and we met at Dana Point, and I got to know you during the conference, and I said, we've got to put something together because I don't really understand what the difference is between Dana Point and Palo Verdes and Manhattan Beach and Redondo Beach. And my daughter lives in LA. And I said, how far are we from LA? Oh, we're not that far. Well, could I commute there from Dana Point? And you said, no, you couldn't commute there from Dana Point.
I wouldn't want to.
And then I said, really, what most of us understand about the beach communities of LA is what we see on Selling Sunset. And I don't trust that what I see on Selling Sunset is really reality. So tell me about the beach communities that you live in, work in, and are expert in.
Yeah, so here's the thing. I'm a native Texan and she's a Tennessean, and we moved here over 20-something years ago. And we've lived everywhere in Los Angeles, like Santa Monica, Hollywood, Beverly Hills, Burbank. And we're best friends. We both ended up in the beach cities, which is the South Bay of Los Angeles. Those of you who don't know it, is the best part.
It is. And so Los Angeles is actually a bay. So it goes from Malibu down to Palos Verdes. So it's a bay. And so right south of the airport are the beach cities, South Bay. So that includes Manhattan Beach, Hermosa Beach, Redondo Beach, and then is Palos Verdes, the big hill. And so we both ended up down here eventually. And I have to say, it's my favorite place that I've lived in Los Angeles County.
So I'm looking at, everybody sees the map here. We have Redondo Beach down below, Hermosa Beach, and then Manhattan Beach. And they're all right there. And you're referring to this bay, is this big C-shaped bay. That's correct. The North Bay, and then Long Beach is the South Bay?
No. Above,
There you go.
That's the South Bay.
That's the South Bay.
Okay,
And
that's the South Bay.
It starts at Malibu and goes all the way down.
And the South Bay starts.
So we're talking about this stretch of beach right here, Redondo to Manhattan.
Below the airport. Yeah.
Okay.
Can you just tell me, just to get a sense, what's the distance from Malibu to Hermosa?
We know
Or to
in
Redondo?
hours. So if you leave in the morning, it's about 45 minutes?
If you leave in the morning, it's probably an hour, and it's probably, I'm guessing, about 30 miles, 20 miles.
Okay.
I can tell you real quick, but it's the traffic, because you have to take you have to take PCH. So depending on what time you go, it can be pretty daunting.
Yeah, I think the big thing about the South Bay of LA is we're so close to the LAX airport. So that's both for commercial and the large private FBO. So we have a lot of, especially in Manhattan Beach, we have a lot of athletes, CEOs that travel a lot, business people, so they can just be on the beach within 20 minutes of landing. It's pretty awesome.
So our office right now is in Manhattan Beach, and we can be at the airport. I have timed it. We can be at LAX in 11 minutes.
So if someone said, I live in Santa Monica, I can do the same thing. I like it better. What's better or worse than, like, is it better to be north or south? You're going to say south, but what's the conflict? Like if someone said,
I've lived in Santa Monica. I have lived in Santa Monica, and it was great. I loved it. But this has just a small town beachier vibe. Is in Santa Monica, felt like it was a lot of tourists, more metropolitan,
Beautiful.
and everything that comes with that, but this feels more small hometown beach is what this feels like.
It's like a luxurious Mayberry by the sea. How about that?
Where the average home here is what, like almost 4 million.
Yeah, it's
So if I'm a baseball player and I sign with the Dodgers, as many Red Sox did a couple years ago, and I get out there and I don't know anything about LA, and I say, well, I think I want to live in Malibu. I mean, after all, I'm in LA and I've heard about Malibu and I hear that's where the rich and famous baseball players live. You're telling me that's too far from the airport for a guy who's got to get on an airplane 80 times a season. That's too far away.
It's a commitment.
Yeah, it's a
because of the
commitment.
traffic.
Malibu is spectacular, and we do sell Malibu, like it's amazing, but it's a different beast to say Manhattan Beach. Malibu is more isolated pockets, but Manhattan Beach, you're all in, very community driven. Like everybody knows everybody's. It's almost good and bad. I think athletes gravitate here. That's why you'll see everyone is super tall, like a lot of tall people here. It's really bizarre. They're super athletic. And then a lot of celebrities live here because they like the community and feeling just comfortable without having to be accosted or anything.
And with that, the Clippers, their training facility is right down the road. Lakers facility is right down the road. And then you've got the LA Kings, their facility is right down the road. So they all love living in this area.
But they love the lifestyle. And we're getting a lot of our clients are coming from LA proper, West LA, meaning the west side of LA. They're all coming down to the South Bay because our schools are exemplary. Like they are top-notch public schools. We also have some of the best private schools. And again, the sense of community, like people like raising their children in this community because you have the beach and just very wholesome environment.
So let me ask you something. In Manhattan, people were, for the most part, the center of the universe here is kind of Manhattan, right? Sure, there's tons of people who live in Brooklyn and all these different places, and there's lots of commerce and things that happen in those places, but Manhattan itself is the center of New York. Do people commute to downtown Los Angeles? Is there a big commuting, like there's a lot happening there, or it's so spread out and people work from home, and so that doesn't exist and it's not a consideration?
We do have a lot of clients that do commute downtown or into Hollywood. And the great thing about this area is we're close to the 405, which is the main highway that gets you there. And so
in the
that's
morning,
really
if
important
it's 8 o'clock, so let's just say you're in Hermosa and you need to get downtown and it's 8 o'clock. How long does that take?
Hour and a half.
That's
Assuming
awesome.
That's really good. Assuming there's no
On a good
traffic
day.
accident.
And the reason being is people, you come for the lifestyle. You don't want to live where you work. You don't want the hustle and bustle feeling, which some people do, and they don't live in the South Bay, or they don't live in the beach, and they don't live in the beach cities. I see Meredith asked if there's a movie studio. Yes, Avatar was shot here,
Right here,
at
right
Manhattan
down the road.
Studios. Huge. I think James Cameron even has a house here in Manhattan Beach. So
Is Santa Monica closer to downtown? Is that a reason why someone might choose it? I'm just wondering why someone would say, yeah, this is all nice, but I want Santa Monica because.
I believe it is a little bit closer.
Mhm.
I do.
yeah,
I believe it is a little bit closer. And
but it is more city feel. We're more like
small
quaint town.
And to drive, like if you drove along the coast there from Manhattan Beach to Redondo Beach, how far is that?
5-6 miles.
Oh, it's small.
Is that a half hour? That's a half hour.
It is a half hour. It is a half hour.
So how long to get into downtown LA if I worked, for Disney or?
An hour and a half, an hour with no traffic on a Sunday.
We have a lot of people who don't want the downtown lifestyle. They want the smaller community feel, and that's why they come.
But if I have to, so the baseball players, I get it, and basketball players, sounds like their lives revolve around the airport. They have to pick the beach communities. But if I have to work for the studios, I'm forced to go to the hills. Is that true?
A lot
Well,
of
they
times.
prefer that energy. It's different.
But again, the training facilities for a lot of these teams are right here. And so that's why we do have such an influx of that.
I
All
know.
right, so I'm switching
know.
pictures. I got a picture here. So if I am one of those people with one of those stars, and you drive me around a neighborhood like this, I say to myself, but I don't feel like I have enough privacy. Can you get me privacy in the beach communities and still be close to the beach?
For the
Well,
right price, yes.
So Manhattan Beach is 3.8 square miles. So everything is pretty dang close to the beach.
So
And
curious, I was
Someone like
curious.
Ben Vaughn is in, behind his gates within Manhattan Beach.
Yeah, he has his own little gated
Gated
compound. They have them, but yes. And we have the village, which is that they have estates in the village. It's a gated community on the other side of PCH. That's where a lot of the ball players enjoy going because they want that extra security and privacy. So that we do have those areas.
Is it safe to say that also you might have some actors, directors, whatever, living up in the hills, Hollywood Hills, but have a place down at the beach?
Absolutely.
We have people in Manhattan, New York with a Manhattan Beach third home, or Dallas, Texas, or Aspen, Miami even, because it's just a different vibe.
And to add to that, even when we jog the Strand, when, we love looking at all the beautiful homes that are on the ocean and this and that, but I'm always shocked all these years, how many are vacant. Meaning, I mean, they have furniture, but you can tell them no one's, we do it every day and no one is in there. And so these are like second, third, fourth homes.
So you're having like 10, 15, $20 million homes empty.
So can we talk about the housing stock a little bit? Because every time you see pictures of anything like that, they show you along the beach and all the houses along the beach. But when you walk away from the beach and you start getting, a block, 2 blocks, 3 blocks, what kind of product are you buying? Are you buying an apartment in a condominium building? Are you buying a single family house? Are you buying a duplex? What can you get for, say, I don't know, $2 million?
Well, you're not going to be really close to the beach for $2 million, but you can probably get on the other side of PCH. So you're still, in the
Driving distance.
driving
but not
distance.
Biking. Well, you could probably bike, not walking distance. We'll put it that way.
But you're saying like a mile away?
Yeah. So I would say maybe half mile away,
mile.
you can get a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home around 2,000 square feet.
And then if I want to be within a block of that beach and I want 2,500 square feet to 3,000 square feet.
You're looking around 4 to maybe 7, 8 million, depending on views.
For that needs a couple $100,000 remodel for sure.
And what are those? What's that product?
It's something.
And what's it competing with? Because it seems to me that now we're getting into $4 to $7 million territory. Now I'm starting to think, oh, those are those fabulous houses with views in the hills that look down onto LA. And that's when people start to have choices in that $4 to $7 million range.
Yeah.
And that's not on the Strand or even 2 houses up. That's above that, but still right, like near the beach.
And you might have an amazing ocean view. So there is that.
So what you'll get is a couple things. You'll get a single family home that is built in reverse form, meaning all the bedrooms are below and the living spaces and kitchen are up top. So you can have the ocean view, and also duplexes. So 2 fabulous homes, 1 attached wall, so they can have more people.
And be sure to pay cash because you can't get insurance in California right now.
Wait, what?
It's impossible to get insurance in California right now.
Meredith, there's no mudslides on Manhattan Beach.
What are you talking about? Yeah, we don't get the mudslides or the fires.
We have a lot of clients that have second homes in California, and it's virtually impossible right now.
So that would be Malibu, because of the fires,
certain areas of the
Hollywood.
Hollywood Hills.
So those areas, and I will say, when that happens in parts of other parts of Los Angeles, they tend to come to the South Bay because the land, the money, the views. We had a client who had a home in Malibu that burned down, and they bought here in Manhattan Beach. They were going to rebuild. And they're like, you know what? I really like it here. I'm not going to go back. My kids are small. We love the soccer and we love all that. So we're going to hold off on rebuilding. So we'll get a
Malibu-
lot of
Meredith only has the most exclusive clients, so I think that's what we're
Meredith.
talking about here.
Now, coming
Yeah.
from Malibu, did they get more for their money coming south?
I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that.
No, because they typically want the equivalent. Sometimes they'll either come here to Manhattan Beach or they'll go up to Palace Foodies behind the gates and just get a lot of square footage, equestrian properties, big ocean views of the Queen's Necklace, which is the part of the bay. Yeah, so it just depends on where you specifically you are.
Can we talk about just a little bit of just short history of what happened to you guys during COVID? And what has, and are
Yeah.
you back to, are things kind of back to normal? Are they not? What has changed?
So the first week of COVID, we're like, oh my God, we're done.
Right.
It's dead. We're gonna be housewives. Our lives are over. It's done. We're okay.
And
We're
what was
gonna do-
bad, they shut down, the first thing they shut down was all the
The beach.
beaches, which is so weird.
We can't go
So
to the beach.
you couldn't get out, you couldn't, like, you would get arrested if you were seen on a beach.
We're
which
not
is
kidding.
strange.
It was
For how
Weird.
long? For how long did that first?
months
Months.
and months before you could get back on the beach.
I mean, and we had the whole where the ocean turns blue because of all the creatures in it. So I'm sneaking on the beach to show my kids that.
And I found a loophole. So if you have they have paddle clubs here. So if you paddleboard, you
It's stand-up
you can
paddleboarding.
stand up paddleboarding. You can get a club membership. If you had a club membership, then you could get out on the water. That was your access to the water. And so
And
we
freedom.
did so because that was our freedom, right?
And we had backyards, but we need more.
Yeah.
So it was dead, I would say the first week. And then all of a sudden it was like wildfire. We were so busy. And I think just about 2 months ago.
Yeah. probably
2 months ago,
It
it
slowed
slowed
a
down.
little bit.
And it's really interesting. We're now starting to pick up again.
So so for example, so the deal volume is starting to pick up, but where are your prices in comparison to like early 2020, 2019 to now?
That's a great question. I would say what, 20% lower?
I would probably say 20%.
Lower now.
Lower. Wow.
Wow.
And
They went really
Yeah.
sky high here. Like it was super desirable.
How
because-
long have they been lower? So what caused the lowering and, what precipitated that?
Well, I believe that our clients that want to make a move, they're waiting because they already have 2.5 interest rate. They are upset about moving and then losing that. And so I think they're all kind of waiting to see what happens.
And even our
But-
cash buyers flip into a loan right afterwards because they don't want to use up their cash.
And so they're waiting.
So they're waiting.
So everybody's waiting.
And then our
But that means that
seller.
that means no one's selling. So you have nothing to sell. So your
we've
prices
been-
should be
We've been a little
pushing,
further.
should be pushing up on price.
Yeah, I don't get it.
Yeah.
But it's not
Interesting.
happening here.
It's not happening right now.
It's interesting, but then you have, like, we have a buyer in Santa Monica and it's hot in Santa Monica, like wildly hot.
But
Why?
John, isn't it 20% lower in New Canaan right now than a year ago?
No,
Interesting.
absolutely not.
Well,
So
it's
in New
definitely
Canaan,
not the
So-
same.
no, so absolutely not. So there's two things going on in New Canaan, and Roberto's talking about this in New York. There's a shortage of inventory. So my house, your house, Roberto's house have all are a little bit more valuable, a couple points, let's say 5% more than they were last year. Much has been made of the headlines where the average price and the median price in New Canaan, I don't know about New York, is up 20%. That's because more
Wow.
expensive houses have sold. So more, people couldn't find anything for 2 million. So maybe they bought for 2.2. It doesn't mean that the $2 million house became 2.2. It meant that a lot of people stepped up to a higher bracket. And therefore
they're
we've
also
seen a
getting-
20% increase in the average, both here, Darien, and Greenwich. But I think your house and my house went up 3 to 5%, maybe 3% in the last year. And it's only because of a scarcity of inventory.
Well, I'm seeing a real mixture of, I'm just throwing numbers out. If a house is a 175, it's selling for 1.6. There's a lot of stuff coming in below asking.
So I'm
That's
glad
right.
you mentioned that. I looked up the stats for the 3 beach cities, and it said that those houses are selling for 97% to 99% of asking price. Is that true, Cindy, Misty? Average.
I don't
No.
think that's
So
accurate.
here's another big thing to throw in there. A lot of what those stats are not coming from what's selling off market. And a big part of our business is dealing off market. So you're not seeing the full picture when you're not actively working in this area.
So Roberto and I come out there, and my next question is going to be, what are the 3 questions you're going to ask us and Meredith
Yeah.
to figure out whether we're in a Manhattan Beach kind of person or a Hermosa or a Redondo? But when we get there and I say, I've got $2 million rattling around in my pocket, how negotiable are these sellers? Can I go look at 2 houses with my 2 million, or am I not likely to get any negotiability? So let's talk about negotiability first.
In this market, I believe that you can in this market.
Mhm.
Last year, no way. No
Right.
way.
But right now we're seeing a little bit of movement like that. Our first question would be who is your home cleanser or spirit guide? That's our first question.
You're kidding,
Who's
right?
agreeing with you? No.
You asked that of a New Yorker?
I'm confused already.
They're like, can my energy person walk through with you first before I even walk in? We're like, yeah, okay. That sounds cool.
Okay, wait. Pause. Ready? I don't know if she'll speak, but the first person to react to this show, she's on the call right now. I hope she'll turn on her microphone. Eugenie Desario, my client 20 years ago, she was hired by, or more than 20, AOL to be the expert on that kind of things, spiritual energy. And she'll join the call because she said she's very interested in the beach communities because her son has just moved out there. So Eugenie, if you're on the call, I hope you'll speak up.
I just unmuted. Do you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Hi, girls. You're great. No, we love it out there. My son and his fiance live in Redondo, so we've been out several times.
Love it.
They live on, oh God, it begins with a C. They're a half a block from the beach in a really nice
Catalina?
apartment. And then they're getting married in August at Terranea, August 26th.
Oh, beautiful.
So we've been
I
up
have-
there as well. And my
Come-
nephew
come say
lives out
hello.
there. Yeah, my nephew, he's married. He's got a 2-year-old daughter. And another best friend of theirs, they live in Torrance. They don't have
Yeah.
children yet. But yeah, it's a fabulous
place.
community. But in terms of, good energy in a house, that's what it's all about.
All about, right?
I lived in New Canaan for a really long time. John was our broker who sold a large family house when we downsized. And we ended up moving over the border to Stamford. And yeah, it was like as soon as I walked in this house, it's like, this feels right. And I'm a painter now. So I have a painting studio downstairs. But yes, the energy of a home is very, very important. And location.
It is important. I think it was, that's one thing that's very different in LA, I would say. I mean, we've had it where a home was not selling and it was absolutely because it was overpriced. And we know, and our client was an influencer and she decided to bring in a home cleanser and then a psychic. And the psychic's like, do you have, what was it?
What she asked if there was a statue buried somewhere around the house. And
We're
so we
like-
had to go to her and say, hey, do you have a statue buried somewhere? And
psychic
she
wants us to
admitted
know.
that she did. And the psychic had told us that she buried it upside down, the wrong way. It was supposed to be upside down.
Yeah, it's a St. Joseph statue. Yeah,
And
everybody in
so
Connecticut.
we dug it out for her.
She's like, will you take it
Everybody in
out?
Connecticut does that.
Oh, every
But
Catholic
she
does
didn't
that.
share that with us. It was the psychic that had to tell us that. And so we were like,
And then she said, and then we got a deal within 3 days. I am not lying. We're like,
Hold on. We gotta go back. Let's just go back. Wait. The first let's go back to this one and then please explain it again, because I don't get it. That this is the first thing you ask? What was this?
It's fun. It's fun. It's like, so are you working with like a home cleanser or a spiritual energy worker? What, you're not into that, Roberto? Right?
I just
Very
it's-
Californian. It's a thing.
And then we were like, so, you know, and it's also numbers are a big thing, numerology.
Oh,
We
yeah.
have a client now, it's like, look, my number is 3. It has to come out to a 3. I'm like, holy cow, how do I figure? Like, it all boils down to a 3. I'm like, Misty, help me. How do we figure out if it boils down to a 3?
So in a tight market, of course, it omits a lot of property that would have been perfect for her. And so it's going to take her 10 times longer. Side note, the psychic, her office is upstairs from the Douglas Elliman's office.
Once we get past this spiritual energy numerology question, what might you ask Roberto or Meredith or Eugenie?
More about your lifestyle. What are you wanting from Los Angeles? Are you here to work? Are you here for a second home? Do you have a family? That's the first, like, who are you?
And then, of course, if they give us a $2 million budget in this area,
But they have 4 kids.
yeah, I mean, they need 4 bedrooms. Like, we've got a little.
No,
bit of
I'm just
problem.
talking about just me. I'm retired and
generous.
I don't have a job commitment, but I have a vague idea that I want to be near the airport so I can go to my other home. So that's how I found you. So what do you ask me next?
Well, what do you like? What are your hobbies? What do you like to do for fun? What are you into? Because typically it's someone's moving to the beach because they're into surfing, hiking, biking, all that. And then we figure out where to put you. I'll give you an example. We had a family of 4 moving from Ohio. They call us and they're like, we really want to live in Manhattan Beach. And it's the one that we have $2 million. We want 4 bedrooms. We want 3,000 to 4,000 square feet. Yeah.
So they cried on our shoulder for a week. And then we were able to get them in Palos Verdes where they had some square footage. And
Get square
they're
footage.
super happy.
Love
But
the art.
it was a sting for sure.
Sticker
Let's talk,
shock.
wait, before we move off of that. So
Sure,
you
let's-
moved them from Manhattan Beach, which is the most expensive of those 3, to Palos Verdes, which is all the way south of Redondo Beach, right?
A little higher than that, but yeah.
Okay, why? Why is that less expensive?
So if you go on the area that's kind of more the south, it's called Rancho Palos Verdes, you can get a lot more square footage for the money for sure.
How would
And
you
still
describe that area?
Yeah, and then you can have a beautiful view of the Long Beach Long Beach.
So they still wanted somewhat of a view, or we would have put them in Torrance, parts of Redondo, not so much Hermosa, it's too more expensive, but anything more inland is where we tend to put families, but they really wanted somewhat of a view. And whenever we took them up to Palos Verdes,
They fell in love.
It
They
was
just fell in
magical
love.
for them. They're really into yoga. They have like some yoga company or something.
I have been chained to my desk for the last 40 years and I'm retired and I'm not an active person. And I just decided, this is what I could afford, the beach communities instead of the hills over LA. So I don't really know what I want. I mean,
Well,
Yeah.
are you single, looking to get into a
Mingle.
community to mingle? Is it you and your significant other, or your spouse? Like, those are very specific questions. We have one woman, she lived in a home in Torrance and she's like, I am newly single and I want to be in the action. So we put her in South Redondo, Catalina, and she is in heaven. So for us, it's really making sure they're in the right area,
The right
for
pocket.
sure. And we have moved people up into the Hollywood Hills, Hancock Park, because the beach cities just didn't work for them.
Where are
I'm
most
not a good case study. Jake, Eugenie's son, he's in his 20s. You said he's in Hermosa?
Redondo.
He's in Redondo. Okay, we got to unmute.
Great
So he's in
area.
Redondo, and you said he's how old? I think we lost her, but all right. So tell me about Redondo.
So
So,
Redondo is fascinating. Go
yeah,
ahead.
so there's like two parts of Redondo. You have North Redondo and South Redondo. North Redondo is actually east. So you're not gonna get any ocean views and you're not gonna be walking to the beach in North Redondo. South Redondo, is right by the beach. So South Redondo is a little bit more price per square foot. North Redondo, you will see it's dense. They don't have, a lot of them don't have sidewalks. It's just dense.
We have more 2 on the lots there, which
Yeah.
is 2 homes on 1 lot. It's like 2 separate homes. Sometimes there's an attached wall, sometimes there's not, but definitely dense, more 0 lot lines, not a lot of yard space. When you go down to South Redondo, you're closer to the beach.
Yeah, more
little pricier,
space, it's a
more
little bit
space.
pricier, but there's also what is called the Riviera Village area, and that's way south, and it is where all the restaurants and bars are, and it's just beautiful, and that's south of the Redondo Pier.
I'm unmuted now. Did you hear
That's where
me?
your son lives, right? Probably.
My son
probably
lives
in
on,
that
yeah, I
area.
remember now. It's like 1301 South Catalina.
Yeah,
And they're like a half a block from the beach.
Great
Now,
area.
he just turned 34. His fiance will
Yeah.
be next month. And they both
Yeah.
have really good jobs. They're paying a lot for their place. It's upstairs, downstairs, half a block from the beach. You see it from their patio. And that's what they
Nice.
wanted. They lived in downtown Stamford. He lost a lot of places before he got this one. Just grabbed,
Yeah.
he's basically like, get me in. And the woman rented to them and they're very happy. But, as far as being homeowners, even with good jobs, it's a way off for that area, but they love it. They love the area.
yeah.
Yeah, it's tough.
But they said, we're spending stupid amounts of money, but we love it here. And I said, well, that's great. That's what you should be. That's the way you should be living in your 30s.
Yeah, and what's interesting is recently they have started in South Redondo, they have started a music festival. It's called the Beach Life Festival. And I think this will probably be their 5th year, I think, but it has been such a big deal. It's right on the beach. And of course, this year they have Gwen Stefani playing and the Black Crows and this and that. And it's like a 3-day festival. And it has become so big so fast where they actually started having a Beach Life Ranch festival. And so it's really fun. It's in May. And so, that area, they do a lot of cool, fun things. And yes, the Beach Life Festival is right there by the marina.
Right.
And so
It looks like this marina is the center of the action.
it's a big deal.
It's a lot of
beautiful.
restaurants and stuff.
Is
Yeah.
that the expensive neighborhood to be close to the marina, and the further you get away, the further you are from the action?
South Redondo has a few areas that are popular. And I would say, the Riviera Village is probably a mile south of that. That's a really hot neighborhood. There's not a lot of, there's more small condos around the marina. So it's just a little bit different. There's more small condos, like 1 and 2 bedroom condos around there.
And I saw Perry say that the homes seem very close together in Manhattan Beach. The closer you are to the water, the
You'll
more
see it's dense.
going to be denser. The further you are away, then you can have like East Manhattan, there's land. There's like estates, but
Estates.
also just nice family homes.
How
Do all
much
of these
is,
places come with parking?
So parking is really tough in what we call the sand section. So you're going to get which is closer to the beach. You'll get your garage space. And then there are community areas to park, but it is,
If you
I
have,
would
it
imagine
has to be
everybody has a
cars.
car.
when you have a party, you are bringing in a valet company
Absolutely.
because
You're
there's
bringing a valet
nowhere to park. East Manhattan, no problem. Yeah, there's parking.
Can we talk
Like
about the
Market
taxes?
neighborhood.
Can we talk about taxes? You guys just are starting a transfer tax? I'm assuming that's a
Yeah.
seller tax?
That just started.
Is it a seller tax or is it a buyer, like a mansion tax?
Seller
It's a
tax,
seller tax.
and it's above 5 million, I believe. And I should
It
know a
doesn't,
whole
it doesn't
lot
start
more
lower
about
than that?
What's that?
That transfer tax is not for properties lower than 5 million?
We do have transfer tax, but not as hot, like they're really jacking it up for 5 million and above.
Mhm.
Do you guys
I can't
have,
remember the exact amount of the transfer tax right now for normal, but it's not.
do you guys think that's gonna affect your pricing at all?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think that it's going to be one of those items where we're gonna, once we get into, we're going to have to start negotiating that.
Yeah, oh yeah.
I do believe that, which of
But is
course
it
makes.
generally- but the
process more
transfer tax, is it general, like here, we have a mansion tax for the buyer, which over $1 million, it used to be at 1% for anything over $1 million. Now it's a graduated scale and it goes up and up and up. At 2 million, it's like 1.25, and then you get it into 4, 5, 10 million, and it's up in like 2%, 3%, it starts really graduating up. That's a buyer tax. The transfer tax is a seller tax, which is to the state and to the
That's
city,
right.
which is also, it's like, 1.825% added on top. So that's, there's a lot of money going around there. So I'm just curious, the transfer tax that they're instituting, is it supposed to be a seller tax?
Yes.
Okay.
I think we're trying to follow in your footsteps or something because like we are so taxed here.
Are you, so that's the
So
other
taxed.
Call it the weather tax.
That was one of my questions. You guys have to be losing people, like we're losing people, right? We're losing people to Florida and to Texas and things like that, the whole region in some ways. Are you guys
Well,
losing people to
so
those same
that's-
spots?
Great. Yeah, so here's the thing. We lost a lot of people to Texas,
Florida, Montana, Idaho,
but
a lot.
we got a lot of people from
New
New
York,
York, Manhattan.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
a lot of people.
And the
from New
biggest
York.
thing is we want a different lifestyle. I'm tired of this. I'm like, oh, okay, come on.
Uh-huh.
A lot of New Yorkers here. Where else?
Because we're used to the taxes.
Boston and Chicago.
We're just seeing an
Coming
influx certainly from the East Coast.
Oh, for sure.
I
And
don't think,
they like enjoy what we've got. Like they are like hardcore Californians all of a sudden.
Yeah.
in contrast to Roberto, in Connecticut, where we have roughly 150 towns in Connecticut, each one sets their own tax rate. We are beginning to set a transfer tax, a mansion tax for properties over $2.5 million. It's starting this year in Connecticut. But aside from that, aside from the transfer tax, people shop for their communities in Connecticut, partly because of the quality of the schools, partly because of the commute. And you and I have talked about the commute to downtown and the commute to the airports. And in every show for the last 70 shows, we've been talking about the importance of the airport as a driver of the current real estate market. The people in Vero Beach said that when the airport shut down for renovations, it affected their real estate. That airport just opened back up, and they couldn't be more excited because they now once again have direct flights back and forth to Westchester. So I guess what I'm wondering is, what are people shopping for when they're trying to differentiate? Because you're taxing Redondo, Manhattan, Hermosa, and downtown LA and Malibu. They're all being taxed the same way. So we're not, tax no longer becomes a factor. We've already talked about the airport. So what are the other factors? You said something about schools when we started the call, and it seems like that might be a major reason to pick one town versus another.
It's a major reason. It's
Probably
that.
one of the biggest reasons.
It's
with fancy.
also, we're known as the bubble. We live in a bubble. Our community is so close knit, very clean, and you're not going to see what you see everywhere else in LA because we're just a
Even
small
though we're
community.
LA County, you're not going to see some of the same. And having said that, this is all the time. We always have, and for 10 years, we've had an influx coming in from the west side.
Yes,
Then-
once they discover
The
South
schools
Bay Beach
and
City
all that.
schools and the community.
Because they're having to
That-
pay for private schools. And so then they have to make that decision. They come down and they look around and they're like, why are we paying for private schools when we could live by the beach? And then our kids could go to these amazing public schools. And so
And then they
that's-
get involved in the school system, right? Then they get very involved, and then that's how they meet people through
Yeah.
their school.
One major component,
Sure.
major component, the schools.
Are
Like,
you
a lot
allowed
of
to say
our-
who's got the best schools, or do you have to name like 3 or 4?
You know,
they're all
all
getting
of the South
like
Bay.
10 out of 10s on the scale. They're all getting like 9 and 10 out of 10s.
Manhattan, Redondo, Hermosa, Palos Verdes,
They're all fabulous.
most of Torrance. Amazing. I mean, we love it. We have kids here. And the schools bring community, and that's what we've seen through COVID. Like, I don't know how it was where you guys are, but we had, we're doing kind of like wine picnics with our neighbors in the front yards.
And pods for the kids.
And kids had pods.
And everybody, a lot of people at that time, they converted their garage into like play space so other kids could come
Or a
visit
small
and leave the
pool.
garage open or whatever, all these pods and stuff. So that was
Yeah.
like really popular especially when the beaches were closed.
And now people love that community feel, and they continued a lot of that. We're really big into our green space, our beach. People are very involved in the community. I mean, we are a part of so many clubs like Kiwanis and Leadership Manhattan
Leadership.
Beach. And we run the Manhattan Beach Santa float every Christmas for like 14 days. Like, we're committed, and it just becomes a really rich life. And that's what we like to provide, a rich way of life. Community, fresh air, sunshine. How much?
Private schools a big deal where you are?
Say it again.
Are private schools like a big thing there or not?
There,
If you live in West LA, yes.
Yes.
Because the private,
yes.
the public schools are not so great.
And West LA is what, like above Santa Monica?
It's like Westwood, Brentwood,
Westchester.
Westchester. It's
yeah.
like from the airport
North
north
and east.
and east.
Okay.
Mar
Very
Vista,
We have a few clients that send their kids to like a,
like Chadwick is really. big
yeah,
school
which is
here.
up on the hills in Palos Verdes. That's really popular. But they're very few, but
So
And they're
you
very
mentioned
expensive.
Torrance. Torrance
Yeah.
is the big town, a little bit inland of these 4 beach communities.
exactly. Yes.
Okay, so I get to be a little bit closer of a commute to LA if I'm in Torrance, and yet accessible to the beach.
Correct.
Yes.
And it sounds like I can get more acreage, more land if I'm in Torrance.
For sure.
I don't know about acreage, let's relax, but you get a lot more space and like, that sounds like a new Canaan talk.
Yeah, I wanted, when you said more land, I was like,
Acreage,
oh,
like,
great.
get
We
acreage.
have 1 acre, 2 acre, and 4
Yeah, we
acres.
don't
What do you want?
Yeah,
We don't have.
you're looking at.
Don't have that.
6 million up. Here.
So just to clarify, so Manhattan Beach is really the most expensive in the area, right? Yeah,
Yes,
because that's what my
correct.
son said. And Hermosa is also expensive? I mean, everything is, everything is. I
Just
mean,
like
just-
neck and
Pick
neck,
below Manhattan.
Yeah,
So interesting is a big part of Manhattan Beach is owned by the Skechers family, Skechers footwear.
Mhm.
So it's a very affluent area. And I think it's because of the proximity to the airport and downtown. So it's easier to get to your destination, even if you work in Hollywood from Manhattan Beach, than it would
Yeah.
be from South Redondo or Torrance.
Because South Redondo, honestly, from Manhattan Beach is not, it's 5 miles, but it is 30 minutes. It's 30 minutes.
It's
Because you're
just
that
this
route.
little rectangle.
Exactly. Yeah. That's it.
That's it, our little sweet home.
South Bay.
South Bay. I mean, I think you guys need to just book a trip,
Come on down.
come see us. We'll take you to El Trosco, but I think we'll take you to pawn shows, or we also in Manhattan Beach have we have like a Michelin star chef that opened several restaurants that are insane.
They have fabulous restaurants. South Bay.
I am so glad to hear it because according to this map, the only restaurant you have is In-N-Out Burger. I'm a
Oh,
little-
That's not a restaurant, but we love our.
But we love an In-N-Out burger now.
No, our cuisine here is amazing, like.
There's
um,
great restaurants.
Great
Yeah.
restaurants.
Can we talk
Like
about
not
your business? Can we talk about your
chain.
business a little bit? About like, how did you guys meet? Were you friends before? How are you generating business? Where is it coming from? Like, can we just, and you know, do you have assistants? Do you have other people you work with? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes. So Cindy and I am originally from Memphis, and I was just trying to get the hell out of Memphis. So in college, we were in, I met her in San Antonio. And we became great friends. I was only there for 2 years, and then I ended up making my way out to Los Angeles. It was my dream to live in California one day. And so I eventually made that come true. And then strangely enough, Cindy ends up showing up like a few years later. And at that time, you know, we were single and having fun, and everybody lived in different areas of Los Angeles, I didn't understand how beneficial that would be for us now,
No
but
kidding.
the way that we know the city, because we've lived everywhere. And so she was living in the South Bay, and I, you know, at that
I moved to
time,
Manhattan Beach.
yeah. And so when I would come down and
Here's the
visit,
deal.
I
We were
thought it was
like-
amazing.
Yeah, we're like, well, you know what? We're getting married.
Our lives
Our
are
lives are
gonna
gonna
be
be
over.
over. Let's work together.
And I had already had a real estate career, as had Cindy. And so we just thought, let's do this. And we partnered up, and here we are all these years later, and it's been fun, and we'll always be best friends because we have too much dirt on each other.
Very too many bodies.
Yeah,
For
we'll
sure.
always be,
For
we're
sure.
stuck together for life, or we'll go to jail.
I'm
So,
showing your Instagram right now because you said, I want to talk about selling the lifestyle. And I want to talk about the importance of social media to illustrate the lifestyle. So what are we seeing here on your Instagram? What are we telling people about the Southern California lifestyle?
Well, first of all, most of our business comes from referrals. Like I would say 95% are referrals from our friends, family.
From the networks that
Our
we
networks that we work with.
Kiwanis, or like we said, Leadership Manhattan Beach, all these different clubs that we do, we have really, really worked that, and it's been great.
I'm originally from Spain and I grew up in Texas. Misty.
Where in
is
Spain? Where in Spain were you born? Just curious.
Rota, R-O-T-A, near Marbella. Little tiny town. I was just there. I have half my family's there. But
That's great.
having that.
I've been there.
You have? Oh my
yeah.
gosh.
Like this big.
Yeah, I love it there. My aunts and uncles are all there, cousins, you know, we're all over. We're all over. But having that European background, and Misty is quarter Filipino. We're both she has family in the Philippines. We're very well traveled. So our clientele come from all over the world. And we've both chosen this little piece of world to live in because for me, it's super similar to where I was from in Spain. It's just that really comfortable lifestyle. And we travel a lot. We love our friends and we love our lifestyle. So whenever people recommend them to us, we show them the community. It's not just about finding you a home. You are in our family circle, and people love it. And if they don't, they probably won't work with us, but they always do, because there's something special about not just finding them a home, but hey, we're going to take you to the top 3 restaurants that we like in this little section. And I want to introduce you to so-and-so. They teach little league, and you have 2 kids and you're going to love them.
Really getting them connected. Really getting them
Connections.
connected.
And so our Instagram is just, our brand, and it's just pretty much who we are, minus
What's the
family.
handle on the Instagram?
It's really tough. Cindy and Misty. Really hard. CINDYANDMISTY. And also we answer to Mindy. We get that a lot.
We get it all the time, Mindy.
You've got 35,000 followers. You must be doing something right. What is your secret? I mean, we all want an international clientele to discover us and ask us to be the concierge of their home buying experience. but you're
Right.
actually doing it. So what's your
We
secret?
love it.
Well, I think it's evolved a lot. I think that it's so different than when we first started. It's like we didn't know what we were doing in the beginning. And then as you start kind of seeing responses and stuff like that, then you kind of get better at it. I think we've just gotten better at it. I'm so lucky, thank God, that Cindy comes from she was in the acting world before. And I am so grateful because she really has that vision and is the one that really takes care of all this. I just
I
need
love it.
someone to tell me
Super
what
fun.
to do and say is all I need. That's not, I don't have the artistic vision for all this. She really does. And it takes that. It takes that.
It takes showing who you are, because people want to know that you're not fake on social media. It has to be who you are, because that's what people look at to see if they want to even work with you. So it kind of weeds out the gnarly individuals that we don't want to work with anyway. You know, it's just, we may not work for you, but we work for a vast majority because we love what we do. We love our friends. We like bringing you in if you're good, and, you know, we'll bring in your psychic too. We don't care. We're equal opportunity. But I think social media is being authentic and not being afraid to make mistakes. I think the mistakes you make on social media makes you real. So when you stumble,
Humbling.
and it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, that's really great advice.
I
agree
think
with
people they worry too much about, what am I going to say? What am I going to say? What am I going to say? I'm like, oh, get on Chat GPT. If you don't know what that is, like, go on Google. It's AI and it's insane. It can tell you what to, like, we're not using it yet, but for anyone in my office that worries, it's great. But it's being authentic within the subject matter you're talking about.
And that is what I see most agents do, especially in our office, is they're always asking, what do I do? What do I say? And then they overthink it, and then they don't do anything. And then a year passes, and then another year passes. They haven't done anything. And it's really, you just kind of have to jump out there. If you're not sure, go on some other agent that you
Copy.
like, that's maybe
Copy
not
it.
in the neighborhood that you like. Do whatever they're doing, or make it your own, but that's an idea. So do something.
And on that, you can copy everything we do. We don't care, because when you do it, it's going to be in your style authentically and automatically. So just do it. I mean, that's what we're going to do.
But
We're
you
doing
have to
stuff
follow,
fast.
but you have to follow.
But you got to
us.
follow us, like, make some comments.
But it's really interesting advice, because people feel that, you know, I got to appeal to everyone, or people aren't going to like that. People are going to like that. Say, well, those aren't your clients. But
They're not like
there are enough people
They're
out there
not.
that are going to be,
You're not going to make it.
they're just going to be attracted to who you are, and they're going to be the right people to work with.
Yes.
Absolutely. There's
Yes.
always going to be people that don't like you. It's just the deal.
And we're
Be
okay with
yourself.
it. We're okay with it. We have enough. There's abundance. There's enough for all of us. If they don't like us, I'm going to refer them to someone else, and I'm going to make 25 to 30%.
All right.
Right?
So here, can you sell me one of those houses up on a cliff overlooking this beach?
Let's
You
do
know
it.
it.
Let's do
You
it.
know this. Come
How
on
much,
down.
how much for one of those houses?
6 million.
Mm.
6?
Where's
Well, I
that?
mean, if you don't need a yard, I can get you in there for.
I don't need a yard. I just need a
Oh,
view.
that one.
I
So
don't-
like, there was one that, there's one that we're working on trying to get, and it's up on the hill like that. And we're looking at 15 million.
Okay.
There's a lot of equestrian properties up there, and they actually do have acreage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, you guys, there's something magical about an ocean view. It's like an instant masterpiece. Every sunset is insane. It's beautiful, even when it's a little cloudy. You don't have to have art on a whole wall if you live on the beach. It's awesome.
All right, and when I come down here, I see a couple in Long Beach and I see LA. Do you want to,
Oh, yeah.
take us through one of these?
Yeah, so here's the thing. Our prices came down, but there's such low inventory right now. We sell our stuff pretty instantly because we have a network. So we try to sell off market as quickly as possible.
I loved this listing on dairy. What does that mean? It's physically,
Oh,
it's a dairy.
Oh, no. That is a home in Long Beach, and there are about 7 life-size statues of Jesus in the living room. I love it. And the owner is lovely, lovely woman. She wants 800,000 for this.
And it's worth.
Oh,
six.
see,
Oh, you
see.
see the crucifix.
See one of
Yeah.
them. She took down several. But that's in, I would say, one of the least desirable areas of Long Beach.
Okay,
It
because
has,
this got me excited.
it has a lot of illegal, I think it could have some add-ons that maybe weren't Yeah.
How long has that been on the market?
too
Oh, for a
long.
long time.
We've had a lot of offers on it. She won't take them.
We're trying to let her go. Like, please, maybe you need someone else to work on this one because
It's a great investment property if,
you put some money into it.
yeah, it's a great investment property.
$300,000 can make this amazing.
Yeah.
I
And so we
got
have the,
excited because it felt like it was affordable. So tell me about the neighborhood. I mean, what am I missing about the neighborhood?
Bad schools. Ooh, I'm trying to be nice.
You can look up you
You
can
go
look up some
on-
information on the
MLS.
Yeah.
Or call us offline. It's, I think it will eventually gentrify, but right now it's just a little tougher of a neighborhood, not as safe, I would say for most-
compared
most
to
people.
our area, yeah.
Or
How-
even like
How far is that from Los Angeles? From the city?
it's in Long Beach, so it's still within LA County,
It's within
but
LA County, so from like downtown LA or even from Hollywood, it's probably an hour.
Oh, so we didn't talk about this. Do you guys have assistants? Do you have showers? Do you have administrative people?
Yes.
What
Yes,
do you
we
have?
have.
Your team is made up of what?
well, it's us, and then we have an assistant,
And a full-time
full-time
TC.
TC, and then
What's
we
that?
have
Transaction
transaction
coordinator.
coordinator. So we have what's called escrow. We don't have attorneys, so we do all the work. And we have, we have someone to help us with all the pushing paper.
Let me just tell you, as a guy who's watching one of his deals fall apart because the attorneys won't call each other this week, having escrow, not such a bad thing. When I
Really?
talked to seller's attorney, Fred, and he explained why he's using the Bridgeport contract, but Ken wants to use the Fairfield County contract. And Fred said, and Ken won't call me. I mean, my phone, is always available. And I
That's
thought to
crazy.
myself,
Yeah.
really? We have a deal falling apart because Fred and Ken won't talk to each other? I can't believe it.
That's
So
pretty
be
sad.
thankful. Be thankful you have a transaction coordinator.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I get
As
it.
soon as I'm like,
I
oh
get
my
it.
gosh, the headache of making it. So a vast majority of what we do, like we are rainmakers, we bring in business, but our skill set is from, opening escrow to close of escrow. That's where we make our money. That's how we differentiate ourselves, is making sure the deal gets closed, because people's emotions get involved and egos get involved, and doesn't have to. They want to sell, you want to buy.
Yeah, that request
We
for
wanna-
repairs can get you.
Yes, yeah. So it's been.
So yeah, talk more about the process out there. This is unusual for both Roberto and for me, that you that escrow is a big deal. Opening and closing escrow.
They're
is a
the
big deal.
middleman. Yes, so they push all the
Yeah.
paperwork and make sure everything is like copacetic and no one's, doing anything funny, but it's whatever you have an accepted offer, all the documents, everything goes to an escrow company, and they open what's called open escrow, and they just make sure everything's signed and agreed upon, and then we go through the request for repairs process.
And different cities and different parts of Los Angeles, like in Los Angeles, you're supposed to have the 9A report, which is a building report, which you have to get from the county. And sometimes that can take forever. So you're depending on your escrow company to order it immediately and to make sure that it gets in, because you can close without it as long as the buyer signs their life away. And if you're representing that buyer, I would never, ever let them sign that.
Yeah,
So there's little things that really important items that escrow has to handle for you that you're assuming they handle for you on the backside. And then of course we have all of our, what do you call it? Like water restriction.
oh, all of our restrictions.
Of course, I'll give you an example. we're gonna tell the toilet story.
God.
So we sold and in the village, it's a gated community, really beautiful ball player. He moved his family in and it was completely decked out, remodeled. And so it had these like $10,000 toilets in every room. So I think there was 3 bedrooms. And so the one thing about Manhattan Beach is they have stricter guidelines than anywhere else in California
About
as
your
far
water.
as the flushing goes, I guess. So I think it's, I don't know what it is, 1.4, and the rest of the city is like 2, let's just say for numbers. Anyways, the agent was not from Manhattan Beach, didn't know about it. Her escrow company didn't tell her about it. And so we can't close without it, right? And the buyer didn't want to sign on it. So now we're arguing over $30,000 in toilets because they were going to try to put in the $100 ones.
They were trying to switch.
And
it
so
out.
like little things like that, escrow is supposed to be handling. So thank God we have a great escrow company here, Portfolio, that they watch over all that for us to make sure that we close on time and that those little things are happening, that we're getting all the reports that we can get.
Escrow
Does
can break you for sure. A bad
So
escrow
when
person-
choosing a real estate agent in California, it's very important to ask that question. I mean, they can't be just a great marketer and well
they have to have
connected.
relationships
They
with
have to.
with your, other people, professionals like your escrow companies and
Their escrow companies should know they should know the differences of the different towns and what's required.
Are
And
these
it's not-
licensed people? Do they have to go through some sort of qualification to be an escrow agent or whatever?
definitely an intense training because the paperwork is pretty intense. It's like thick.
But they're
Like all
not
the
attorneys.
officers we work with have
They're
been
insane.
lifers. They've been in the business for 20 something years.
Yeah.
So you need that.
Yeah, it's not fun. That part's brutal.
So
And what's really
So we're
interesting,
gonna wrap up. I want a forward looking, I want the future. Where is this market going? I woke up this morning, had a meeting with some people who told me that the recession is coming, but maybe in 2024, that there's a lag behind the Fed actions before we're gonna start to see the effect of that. Now, you said you're already seeing some of the effect of that in the California market after the stratospheric highs. What is your prediction that you've already seen the worst of that? That's already sort of built in to your expectation, or do you think that we're going to go flat, or is it possible that we could go down a bit before we see the bottom?
So one thing I always go back to is because we went through 2008, right? And one of the things that I feel really grateful for is it was different here on the beach than it was everywhere.
we have a saying, when it's bad everywhere else, it's good at the beach.
We're kind of we're at least holding, right?
Yep.
We
when it's
didn't see this like
Yeah.
crazy dive like everybody else
When
was.
it's good everywhere else, it's insanely amazing at the beach.
Yeah.
So we didn't really, like 2008 wasn't too painful for us. We're pretty steady. So moving forward,
Our crystal ball says,
well, it doesn't matter what it says. We've heard both sides. We're seeing some movement right now, but it doesn't matter. What we're doing is we're doubling down on our work, making sure branding's tight. We're pushing out more material, talking more, shaking hands, kissing babies, having parties. We do a lot of entertaining because our people love entertaining, large and small. We throw housewarming parties. We're just more active because whatever it does, it's the person who's putting in the work that's going to get all the business.
and I will tell you this, the analysts that are always talking about this, they're all from Manhattan, they're all from New York. And last week I was having a discussion with them and they just believe that that we're going to see the rates dump down and that it's going to activate this market. They really do believe that we're about to see another like push on that once those rates come down a little bit, and they believe that.
So we're
Your
ready. So we're ready. And I hope all you guys are ready too. And especially do things that you love to do with the people you love to do it with. And then they bring their friends and that's your business right there. Then you're happy. You're doing something you love and business will come easier.
We're just double downing on marketing right now for sure.
I love this lifestyle approach, Roberto. I mean, we keep coming back to we keep coming back to, live your best life. And I don't think they've seen this show. We are hard-boiled New Yorkers, and we talk about economics and there's lots of math on this show. So this is very refreshing, where I say, what's the prediction? And you're like, yeah, this is the beach. This is the beach. And people want to be on the beach. So Crystal Ball says the beach is going to do fine.
We were around in 2008, like we saw it, like while everybody else was like dying out there, we were just kind of like, everybody's, we're holding.
The beach never suffers.
It's interesting because, in Davos today, they talked to Jamie Dimon and they were asking him this, that, and the other. He goes, I can't worry about the weather. The weather's going to do the weather. I got to do what I got to do. He's like, it's all just going to be okay. It's like, and this is exactly what you guys are saying.
Well, we're tired. There was a whole cultural phenomenon about hustle and the hustle, and I'm hustlers, and I don't want to hustle. Y'all want to hustle? Y'all can have it. I don't want to hustle. I want free and easy, right? I am done with the hustle and the grind. I don't want, y'all can have it in New York if y'all want it. We'll let you have it. We're going to just.
Roberto, I'm learning that the second hour of this show, we're going to get the onion is going to be peeled back. And what we're learning right now is that California is very, very different from New York and Connecticut.
Indeed.
It is.
A lot of you guys have second and third homes over here. Like, we love New York. We love New York. Love it. Great place. The energy's amazing. But we're always going to have a home in California. You guys are what? You guys are all heart, and we're the soul. There you go. Heart and soul.
I don't even know where to go. I mean, you say things like, my strategy for 2023 and 2024 is more parties. And Roberto and I are scratching our head like, I don't even know where to start.
Get out there.
I mean, you have to know your numbers. You have to know your numbers. You have to know your business. But if you're a working agent and making money, you know it. So people are not choosing us solely on that. They want the whole experience. They want to trust you. They know that you're going to go out there and fight for them and get them the best deal, but make it work.
She just said something too, and that rounding it back to social media. That's what I think is so great about social media, because I think that watching someone's behaviors and seeing what they're about on social media gives you an insight of who they are. And I think it builds trust. And that's another reason I think it's important.
It's great.
People watch this show, they don't say, I want to party with those two guys. No. So they want to know what Jamie Dimon said and whether the market is going to get nervous. So, and you guys are like, yeah, whatever.
We're going to loosen that little tie. And we're going to have some fun, and we're going to do some business.
He loves that propeller. He loves it.
So we saw you in Dana Point. A business
Good
trip.
times,
We had
good
fun.
I was the only one in a bow tie.
Yeah,
And that's what was so great about
that
it.
was your brand.
Yes,
It's your brand. We love it. We
Now
love
you look
it.
like Dean Martin. I mean, come on.
Cool guy.
How can you go wrong? How
So
can
I
you
gotta say, listen, in this hour, one of the things that I've learned about you guys that I really think is amazing is that this process of finding a place and selling it can be very stressful, et cetera, et cetera. And you guys seem to be making it fun. And that's a big thing, because I like to have fun with my clients and we have a great time. But I mean, you guys are on a different level. And I think that's really, really great.
I think I learned a lot today, and it wasn't necessarily what you said, but how you say it and what you emphasize and the attitude. And the attitude is a big difference. And I love it.
Everything. Yeah. Well, we want happy lives, right, people?
Yes.
We want to love what we do. We want to
Yeah.
love who we surround ourselves with. We don't want to move people here that we don't like.
It goes back to the first question, and maybe this encapsulates the whole hour right here. The first question that you ask a buyer is, let's talk about the energy. Let's make sure that the energy is good. And I think that really set the whole tone for how you interact with us, how you interact with your clients, and your friends, if you can start a business conversation with, let's talk about the energy in the room.
I know. And a lot of our clients are engineers and mathematicians, and we're like, why'd you pick us? Oh, God.
And that is really strange too, is we have a lot of engineer and analyst clients, and you would think that they would not want to work with people like us, but we have a lot of them. It's
A lot
really
of
strange,
them.
and we end up becoming great friends with them, and they calculate things while we're talking to them or whatever, but they, we're
Yeah.
lucky, they still want to work with us.
Yeah,
It's great.
all down the lifestyle, right?
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
guys.
you for a really great show.
Thank you.
Bye. And visit us.
I'll follow you on Instagram. And
Thank
Mercury
you.
is
Follow
direct.
us, we follow all you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
okay. I'll
And on
Cindy and
YouTube.
Misty on Instagram, right?
Yeah.
Cindy and
And on
Misty.
YouTube, we need more than our moms following us on YouTube.
It's only our
so
parents
we're
following
working on
us
it.
right now, so if you go follow on YouTube.
We
that'd be-
appreciate the follow.
Okay, we'll follow.
Guys, thank you
Bye,
so much.
y'all.
Thank you.
Thank
Johnny,
you.
we'll
Bye,
see you.
y'all. Yeah.